So we're going to talk today about market crashes, a little bit about risk management and money management, how to keep on top of it. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, make sure you have subscribed, hit that bell button and leave a like. It is massively important. So today I want to talk about a few things to help you hopefully overcome these crashes. It's all about the element of the currency you're looking at. I'm going to be recommending an app on this video, which I've used for 2 to 3 years now. If you're in learning crypto or in my Telegram, you'll probably know my go-to on this one. I will explain why it's important, certainly for the mind. Let's talk about it. All the influencers in the world have been pretty quiet the last few days. I personally have, you all know, I've been going through a bit of a personal tragedy. So I've been laying low on social media a little bit. I've been tweeting a little bit, but not much as I normally do. And I'm kind of enjoying that. I'm kind of wanting to go down the approach of just letting my content do the talking, letting what I say become relevant. There's too much drama, right? I will say this now. Too many people are going for clout. Every single influencer has bought this dip right at the bottom. Every single influencer has sold the top. This is the start of this video. Psychologically speaking, we're going to talk about the mind. We're going to talk about how to deal with it. When you are following people, and this is where it all comes down to, you are trying to mimic other people. And I know you do it. I know you copy me. You try and, tweet me and talk about it, which is fine, right? But realistically, you need to play your own game. Investing is selfish, right? Kind of is. If you're seeing people do it correct all the time, i.e. they tweet about it, it's going to make you feel worse. This is why I never reveal in public how big my bags are, why I'm physically holding it, because I don't want people's emotions to be tied. That's why I put things a bit more private, because I want people to understand the difference between public content, people going for clout, versus the real McCoy. That's why I do a Patreon. It's a journal. My online journal is my Patreon, right? Learning crypto is the school. A bit of a difference, right? The element to it is people want to grow their following off the back of you, utilizing people's inner greed. And this is where it all comes down. And that's the basis point of it, the greed mentality. When you are seeing people making loads of money with Binance screenshots of 100x trade from the bottom, you don't know how much money's been risked there. Probably very, very little, because 100x in a volatile market is probably going to take some doing. I would love to see the person's influencer inbox of how many liquidations they may have endured during that time. But that's where we're going to talk about it. So I want to go to the screen. I'm going to show you a graph which everyone goes through in life. We all do it. I'll explain why. I put a tweet on this morning. I'm going to go over it in more detail. We'll look at certain ways for you to overcome maybe some horrible feelings, certainly when the market dips, and how to improve. So the market, it's not looking great. I'm going to press the refresh button. It's going to turn up a bit more of a different kind of appeal now. It's even worse, right? Most people tend to get a little bit salty and upset when this happens, and this is what I'm going to explain. The market will always go up and down. Whatever happens is because of that behavior, your mind, how you feel. Markets react to certain events, certain triggers, certain situations, such as liquidity, such as, liquidations, such as people's tweets. They always affect the market, right? This is a huge thing, and I've talked about this on my social media. You've probably seen the graph of it. The Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a psychological element, a cognitive basis whereby people with limited knowledge will feel more intelligent than they already are. Basically, they are greatly influenced by maybe others and the effects of a market. However, when it goes wrong, rabbit in the headlights. Oh, the panic. So that's basically it. So basically, they overestimate their own knowledge or competence in the domain, right? This could be anything, right? This could be you starting a course, as a plumber, as a plasterer, building of a wall. It'll be fine, and it'll be fine, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, ooh, Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. All that kind of stuff. And it's massive in investing. It's huge. But it's the same with after anything. When you're an investor, especially in a bull market, right? And if I just go a bit, I think there's a picture somewhere, or maybe not on this one, bear with me. If I go on, there we go. It's basically this, right? And this is what I want to, I've already, there's loads of this, right? There's loads of like versions of this. And this is the element to it, right? Whenever people start, they make money, they become an expert. You see it on Twitter. You'll have your NFTs as your profile picture. You'll become a crypto god at one point. You'll have crypto master, whatever it may be, right? But realistically, have you got the time in? And I mentioned this on a video not too long ago regarding YouTubers. There's people that are giving you advice who have done their first cryptocurrency video 7 months ago on YouTube. It's like, really? You know, if they were a trader in the past, that's fine. But I'm talking about YouTubers that were YouTubers elsewhere, i.e. selling your shit on, Shopify and Amazon FBA, or they were doing life coaching, which is bollocks in itself, right? Don't even have any life experience themselves, right? But they're giving you advice on financials, right? You need to be careful who you follow. And this is where this chart is hugely important. It's great copying in a bull market. It's great copying someone that may understand or may have been paid and may understand and know what's happening to make those quick profits. But when it goes wrong very, very quickly. This is where now I feel we are in the valley of despair, where a lot of new people's come in the market. They've never experienced a crash before. Psychologically, you're like, oh, balls, this sucks. But realistically, this is every month. This happens a lot in crypto. You've got to get to use the idea. And this is why taking partial profits is key. This is why understanding how certain metrics work, which I will talk about right now, in terms of you understanding what this market is governed and driven by. And it's not USD. And that is where we're going to talk about it, right? So when we look at all the charts, right, in the world, all of them, it is all default set to USD. And I know I'm repeating myself a little bit here. I've talked about this before. But all I'm going to say is this. Everyone disregards Bitcoin as a heap of old turd, but realistically, that is the governance price of everything. And that is where the problem lies, where people need to understand and change how you do things, right? So let's look at Solana. And now, an example. You've always got this metric to look at. You've got the USD price. You've got the Ethereum price, but the most important one is actually the Bitcoin price. If you actually just do this, and I've repeated this before, if you've seen it before, you probably know what's going to happen here, right? Just put 2 USD. This will give you the price of Solana right now. As you know, it is roughly around $203. And I know some people don't understand that, but that is why looking at the BTC pairs is important. This is where we're going. You need to look, and I mean this, and this is where it all makes sense. And when you look on the videos that I've done in the past regarding this, I did one not too long ago, and I'm going to do one on my Patreon on Learning Crypto as a case study to kind of go over what would have happened if you did this situation versus that situation, looking at the pairs of each individual altcoin. If you're looking at the different, the time frames of different charts, you're going to notice a different bias. Sometimes you'll be making USD but losing BTC. You want to try and keep your BTC wealth, which is why certain people will tweet me saying my BTC is all-time high. This is great. BTC all-time high retest, brilliant. It's not the price of Bitcoin, it's the amount that they've got in their portfolio as BTC worth. This is how you handle a crash. You need to forget about USD and you need to really focus on one thing only. How much BTC do you have? That is it, right? So when you look at the likes of all this, it's all governed to be a part of this. I'm going to show you something, right? On the side here, I've done a little bit of a showcase of the Delta app, right? This is what I recommend you to use. You can utilize this to see how much your portfolio is worth, i.e. all your altcoins or whatever it may be, in BTC, Ethereum, USD, or your native currency, right? Now, the reason why I use this is because it's the easiest way of doing it. I am also a stock market investor. You can probably see on the screen here, it's powered by eToro. You can actually get your stocks, your ETFs, and everything. It's basically your whole wealth tracker, right? That is what it needs to be. If you are looking at your chart and you're thinking, oh, it looks a bit crap today, half the time when the market is crashing, your Satoshi values will probably be all right. You want to keep as much BTC as possible because it is overall store of value wealth, in my opinion, right? Bitcoin crashes the least. Metrics show you that anyways. It runs the longest in terms of, if you look at the monthly chart, look at how steady it has been recently, if you think about it that way. But the most important thing is, if you buy at the right time and if you sell at the right time, obviously, you can keep that wealth. We all know what happens when the dominance chart changes in BTC, right? If I look over at the likes of the BTC chart, I think this is what's going to happen. That's my personal opinion. Whether it happens or not is another thing. But the one thing I want to look at as well within this, if that does happen, this is going to go up as well with it, because it's going to start slaughtering altcoins. Altcoin values in your portfolio will then start to drop massively, right? Huge, which is a problem. This is where people start to panic, because they'll start jumping out of things into things, trying to catch the wave, but realistically they're not. They're just losing Satoshi. You might as well just stick and stay still, because whatever happens to a BTC pump, and it's a giga pump, altcoins are going to be slaughtered. This is why managing crashes is much easier by understanding that metric, understanding why the USD has gone down versus why the BTC pair has not. You need to understand the BTC pairs. Now, the BTC pairs on any chart is very, very similar. I think they're much easier to read personally versus the likes of, that. For me, you can kind of see the metrics. They're very, very similar, but you'll get times where they'll be totally chalk and cheese. You'll get times where the BTC pair is going up and the USD pair isn't going as far, or it's not as quick, mainly because the altcoin is doing very well as opposed to what BTC is doing at the time. Obviously, the other way around is the worst situation. You don't want your USD to fly, especially if you're looking to keep BTC, because essentially that's going to hurt. You can, though, however, take profit into USD and then look to rebuy BTC lower. So in terms of handling all this, right, this is where the element comes in. Now, I'm going to show you another metric that you can utilize. Obviously, you can utilize the Delta app to do it on your phone, but you can also do it on CoinGecko, right? Very, very simply on your computer. Basically, change the currency, right? Go to Sats, I believe. You can see all this sort of situation here. But the one thing you want to look at as well, look at the currencies in Bitcoin. That keeps it super simple. Because when you look at this and you just go the last 7 days, you can see how things are kind of doing. Now, you can see here, we're roughly around 13 to 10% roughly, right? Let's look at Phantom and Kusama here, right? Now, this is where the element will change, right? They've gone down quite significantly, but when you go on to USD, you can see the difference. The difference is massive. Look at that. You've already seen Nia 24% down, right? Covered it yesterday. Phantom covered it yesterday. Kusama, they're down so much more. This is how you can kind of handle certain situations, by knowing that the BTC pair of those assets are actually, yeah, they've gone down, but they're less than half the amount, which is quite significant in the chunks of it. Now, going back to the BTC pair here, go to the last 7 days, stuff has been running. Sandbox, for example, Decentraland, Crypto.com, Avalanche, Engine Coin. As you can imagine, most of them are metaverse. You're still growing your portfolio in the mix of this crash, which is baffling, right? To some people, I know. This is why these BTC pairs are so much easier. I would personally recommend, certainly as a positional holder, I always look at the BTC pair. I don't look at, I do look at the USD pair for like analysis and stuff, but I don't, when I'm investing, I always look for Satoshis. I want to get the most out of my BTC. I want to invest BTC. I want to make more BTC via the altcoins. It's a bit confusing, I know, but it works, because if I've got 10 BTC, for example, right, and that goes up to a certain price as a metric, I'd rather keep that 10 BTC and that price is going up as value appreciation versus USD, which is essentially up and down with the Forex markets, and also the BTC pair will go up and down, up and down, up and down. That's a problem. I've seen it with my own portfolio, especially going back into like 2019, where I had a decent chunk of BTC and it just evaporated because the BTC dominance went so high and all those altcoins hit the floor. If you can see the metric of high dominance and then discounted BTC pairs, you can make some severe amount of wealth. So your risk management, you need to know when to buy. Money management, you need to know what to look at. And overall, how to handle a crash is essentially psychological. Unfollow or mute people that really trigger your emotion. The amount of people that are just doing caps locks and just exclamation marks on certain things just to get people excited. The amount of shilling on social media. And maybe I am too nice. Maybe I don't want to call more people out, but I'm not going to. Life's too short, right? But I will tell you this for free. My inbox, I know exactly what's going to become hot, judging by how many times I get emailed certain things. That is a problem, and I see it on Twitter every single day. By the way, profit taken, watch that fucking video. Ciao.